Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. I'm Macy Marie. First at 4, well, the sun is out. If you've been outside today, I don't have to tell you it is hot out there. So hopefully if you have been spending time outside, you've been drinking plenty of water and wearing that sunscreen. Now because of that heat, our severe weather alert day continues due to the heat advisory and excessive heat warning for the mountains. Our chief meteorologist Paige Noel joins us now on what we can expect with these dangerous temperatures.
Macy, just like you said, as soon as you step out the door, you'll definitely start to sweat. It's hot and it's definitely humid out there as well. Here's a look at that heat advisory and that excessive heat warning. That heat advisory and that excessive heat warning go until 8 p.m. on your Saturday. Those went into effect at noon today. So you can see all of Eastern Kentucky is in that and a few of our Western Virginia counties as well. Now temperatures into the upper 80s to lower 90s, reading a 92 in Hazard, even up into Ashland as well. 89 in London and 93 looking over into parts of Richmond. But once again, it's those feels like temperatures. We're feeling near 100 degrees. A lot of us into the upper 90s to near 100. We'll see those increase a little bit as we head into the rest of those afternoon hours and even as we head into your Saturday as well. So always remember, look before you lock, because temperatures near 90 degrees, you're going to see that after being in a car for only 10 minutes, 109 degrees. So definitely look before you lock. Definitely don't leave your kids or your pets in an unwanted or in a vehicle. Now check out these heat safety tips. You also want to check in on the elderly. If you don't have to be outside, I don't recommend doing so. And if you are working outside maybe this afternoon, definitely stay hydrated, use plenty of sunscreen, and take breaks in the shade as often as possible. I promise some relief is on the way. I'll have a look at that full forecast coming up in just a few short minutes. Macy.
All right, thank you, Paige. Pike County officials are working to help the community as a heat wave makes its way to Eastern Kentucky. WYMT's Buddy Forbes is in Pikeville talking to emergency management officials about their efforts to help and how people can help themselves.
That's right. I'm here outside of the Pikeville Senior Citizen Center, and I'm no Paige, but I can tell you it's hot out here. This is just one of the 8 cooling centers the county has opened up for the next couple of days to try to allow community members to beat the heat. People across the county are looking for ways to escape the heat.
Because the extreme temperatures the National Weather Service is forecast for the next couple of days.
And that is not always easy.
It can put a hardship on people that's working outside, or even senior citizens and others that may not have any air conditioning.
As temperatures rise across the region, so does a concern for public safety.
It'll be a place where they can go and get a break and cool down and not get overly heated or suffer heat exhaustion or heat stroke.
So Pike County opened 8 cooling stations to help out.
They'll be open from 1 to 6. Friday and Saturday, and longer if needed.
Pikeville Public Safety Director Paul Maynard says people should also be aware of how they can help themselves.
Limit your exposure as much as you can. We know some people have to work in this, but you want to try to limit that. You want to take advantage of air-conditioned places.
He also says you should stay hydrated and keep an eye on those around you.
Just make sure everybody's doing okay in this, and we'll get through it. It's a couple of days, and everything will be fine.
Now, 7 of these cooling centers can be found in senior citizen centers across the county. However, in the Shelby Valley area, they are using the Shelby Valley Fire Department as a cooling center because that senior citizen center does not currently have air conditioning. In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, back to you.
And it's not just Pike County's officials who are working to help people stay cool as we head into the weekend. Some local businesses and organizations are also helping lend a hand. We'll have more on that later on tonight. Kentucky State Police have identified a body found in Harlan County in a Harlan County basement last weekend. Troopers say 50-year-old Tim Middleton went missing on December 28th of last year. His body was found last Saturday in the basement of a home that no one had lived in for 6 years. Police have not determined the cause of death, and we talked to Milton's daughter. We'll have much more from her tonight at 6. Friends and family attended funeral services this afternoon for a woman killed in Hazard. Marlena Holland Hurt's funeral was at 2 o'clock today at the Consolidated Baptist Church. She was killed at Bobby Davis Park over the weekend. The murder suspect, Anthony Lewis, was arrested 1 day later. We have a reporter at the funeral, and we'll have more at 6 about Marlena and her life as the community remembers her. Today began a special session in Frankfort to deal with part of the state's ongoing pension crisis. Both the House and Senate gavelled in at 8 o'clock this morning. Governor Mount Bevin's pension relief bill got its first reading in the House and was assigned to committee. Minority leaders said they are concerned that the governor's proclamation calling the special session which dictates what legislation they will be able to pass, threatens legislative independence.
He has the ability to dictate the subject, but he does not have the authority or the power to write legislation as well. That's our job in this chamber.
Many Republicans argue differently, saying their legislative independence comes in their decision of whether or not to pass that bill. We now know when a grand jury will take up the case of a man charged in connection to Savannah Spurlock's death. The Garrard County grand jury will consider David Sparks' case on August the 14th. The 23-year-old was charged with abuse of a corpse and tampering with physical evidence. Police say Spurlock's body was found buried in a shallow grave wrapped in a rug and garbage bags. It's still unclear how the Richmond mother died. The grand jury is expected to return any indictments on August 16th. Decades after the Chernobyl nuclear explosion in Ukraine, the fallout is still evident. Abandoned dogs roam the disaster zone around the power plant. CBS's Ian Lee is in London with a look at what is happening to the offspring of all those pets left behind.
This is a rescue mission.
He's right here underneath this wheel.
To save the abandoned dogs of Chernobyl.
A lot of them come up close, but they don't trust you. It's like they understand what's going on.
In 1986, the Chernobyl nuclear reactor in Ukraine exploded, sending radioactive material spewing into the sky. Authorities evacuated everyone within 19 miles, but people were forced to leave their pets behind. The Soviet government sent in the military to kill the dogs, but some survived.
There's nearly 1,000 stray dogs in the zone when we started this program, and they're all descendants of these abandoned pets. Yep, got it.
For the past 3 years, the U.S. nonprofit group Clean Futures Fund has traveled to Ukraine to track down the dogs and give them medical help.
I'm not worried about, radioactivity. You turn off the lights, they're not going to glow in the dark. These dogs literally may have a piece of grass with a high radiation on them.
Vets vaccinate, spay, or neuter the animals and give them a good wash before releasing them back into the wild. While young pups get a new leash on life.
She absolutely loves everyone, and she doesn't understand why people don't want to stop and pet her all the time.
Ohio native Sean Grossarth adopted Natalka last year through the Dogs of Chernobyl program.
It is by far one of the most rewarding experiences I've had.
The transition from Chernobyl to Columbus has been rough at times, but Natalka has settled into her new life with this American family. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
Since the adoption program began last year, 40 puppies have been adopted by American and Canadian families, and you can learn more at www.dogsofchernobyl.com. A member of Kentucky retail clothing dynasty has died. A.F. Dewar passed away last night. He was the last living child of S.F. Dewar, who started the Dewar's clothing store. The stores were spread through Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio, and Tennessee. The chain went bankrupt, and the last store closed back in 2008. He was 87 years old, and this is just a few months after his sister, Mary from Hazard, died in April. Heading over to Wall Street now on this Friday afternoon, the Dow closes down more than 68 points. The company Christian Book Distributors is rebranding. It says it's time to drop the initials that are now causing trouble. That's CBD. The company sold Christian books and music for 40 years, not cannabis oil, and it wants to make it abundantly clear that it has nothing to do with marijuana-related sales. The brand confusion led the company to change its name to just Christian Books, so if you want to shorten it, it'll be CB, not CBD. That should help. And still to come on First at 4. As waves of extreme heat roll across the country, doctors warn that plain water may not be enough to keep you hydrated. We'll explain.
And the heat continues, but a cold front will arrive soon and cool us off. Those details next.